just might wake them up.
What they need is the strength of oats, which I get this ferociously delicious way. Post Heart of Oats. The lion-hearted cereal, the only cereal that gives you the nourishment of oatmeal, puffed and ready to eat. What do you say?
Are you a people eater?
Please, lady, I am an oat eater. These crisp hearts provide the vitamins and protein of hot oatmeal in a delicious new way.
Oats, huh?
Not just oats. Post Heart of Oats.
Good for sleepyheads, huh?
Madam, I guarantee they will get the nourishment of oatmeal.
Well, what do you say?
Post Heart of Oats.
So this week, we're hopefully finishing up cereal with Post, which is one of my favorites. They're all my favorites, you know, just like your children. All the cereals are great. I started with Heart of Oats, which was actually the cereal that introduced Linus the Lionhearted, and which is kind of interesting. Certainly Post had been around for a long time before that. You know, Kellogg's and Post were the two first main cereal companies, and so they had, you know, their history goes back to, I don't know, 1899 or 1905 or whatever it is. But this is sort of the break into the more contemporary era, which has always been my the place where I like to sort of hang my hat and really have my own personal interest. And if we have time at the end, we'll go back and look at some of the more 50s things. But, you know, not a super dynamic box, a beautifully graphic box. But the cool thing that I have to go with that box is, boom, the very first original illustration of Linus the Lion. And as you can see, it's called Heart of Oats, and Linus has his little Linus heart. And when you saw him in the you see him in that commercial, which we'll click that up, really cool, his head's sort of shaped like a heart, and he actually had that heart on his thing. So we see that sort of their designs starting in the illustration form, and then, you know, he's not on the box yet, but he's in the commercials. And as we'll see in a second here, is that we move very quickly. This is the second Linus box, but, you know, here's Linus. So they've sort of adapted him more, you know, from this sort of, we're getting a lot of, got my big light with all this, maybe I can flip this over and not get as much light. Yeah, that goes on the back, doesn't it? Yeah. So he's more cartoonized and cartoonified. And as we know, Linus ended up being the cartoon character that they sort of wrapped everything in, because there was the Linus the Lion-Hearted Show, and, you know, Crispy Critters being sort of this next generation of sugared cereals from Post, which is sort of after Sugar Crisp, which we'll get into Sugar Crisp second, but we're just going to start with Linus because I really love Linus. And, you know, they made dolls, and this is really kind of a unique cereal because, you know, we saw the alphabets, and we saw all these other sort of shaped cereals, and we, hopefully somebody's out there. Is anybody out there? If anybody's out there, give me a yell, just so I know I'm not talking into the ether for a half an hour. But we see the newer cereal technologies where we're able to shape them like the little animals, and we have, you know, elephants, lions, donkeys, horses, camel, hippo, goat, rhino, and this is of course a take on animal crackers, but it's in the cereal form. And we also have the snack pack wrapper, which, you know, is pretty much the exact same wrapper as this. And what these are proofs that I got at one point, and so they would actually print them. They would print them on this paper, and then the paper would be affixed to the boxes. They wouldn't print the boxes straight up, and that comes from look at, let's see if let me pull something out really quick. If we look at a really early, the earlier boxes were printed on wax. So it's sort of a continuation of that same sort of printing process, which they would phase out into the 60s. But, hey, Jeff. Which they would phase out into the 60s, but they would, for a while in the mid 60s, they were still printing on this paper and then affixing it. And then snack packs were the same way. And the wax thing, I'm sure, had something to do with sort of sealing the boxes and probably making them a little more stay fresh. Yes, whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about. Here we have a little later one. This is like 67, 68. And these boxes are really fun because they wrap around, the art wraps around the, oops, what am I doing? The art wraps around the side, which is pretty amazing. And so you have these are really kind of interesting design. And as we see, you have this one's now with orange mousse. And then this one has these little pink elephants. So they were always sort of, I think Crispy Critters, they kind of wanted to be their primary cereal, but it just never caught on as the primary cereal. Why that was, I don't know. Oh, and that's the other thing we'll be continuing to look at. I'm getting out of control, of course, as usual. This is the art for that other box. Flip that around, boom. And there's the little one. And there, there's the exact art. With the little animals. Just absolutely crazy. And all this art, I'm doing a great job today. Maybe I'll switch these. No, I'm not doing good with anything today. Boom. Let's back it up a little. There we go. Now we can kind of see everything. And back then with this art, they painted all the cereal, they painted the bowl, and it's just fantastic, amazing artwork. Then we have another piece of artwork, which I do not have the box to. And this one's a little closer to what the cartoon looked like. So, as time goes by, you get that push and that pull until you really get what you get to the art that really matches what's on the cartoon. And then the cartoon gets canceled, and that's probably, when you sort of get to these boxes where instead of this full painted, we've gone to this sort of line art. They just keep pulling in this direction and that direction. So those are some of the linuses, which are great. And then this is like one of my favorite Sugar Crisp boxes. It's what it would have been. Oops, let's flip that over. Inside would have been two full 6-ounce packages of Sugar Crisp. And then it has this super cool Playhouse box with the Sugar Bear. It actually has the Sugar Bears, because initially there were 3 Sugar Bears. Handy, Candy, and Tandy, I think. And so this is just a beautiful box. And then on the bottom it shows you can take this and make it into a little playhouse. So there's little side things in here that you fold up. I'm missing one. Yeah, it's just totally wonderful little house. And then they did another one. This one, once again, it would have had the boxes inside there. And then this one is a railroad station and a train. There's the roof of the railroad station and the other side of the train, or another part of the train. And I love these little, there's the little guy in the baggage. How cool is that? There he is as the little porter. He's And there's the little guy inside who's like reading his newspaper, wearing his glasses. I mean, what a fun thing for a kid to get. And this probably would have been cello wrapped, and so the kids wouldn't lift it right out of there and just be sealed up, and then they'd get it home and they'd be able to play with it. How cool is that? So this is a later Sugar Crisp, probably from like '59. And you can see we got Bugs Bunny going on, and I'm sure that they were advertising on the Bugs Bunny show, ABC TV, with Sugar Crisp. And then we begin the long evolution of Sugar Bear, because earlier he was they had the 3 bears, and then this is where we sort of transitioned to 1 bear, and now we're starting to get into the bear that sort of would last. And still no pants, and no clothes. He's got the spoon over his shoulder. Less than interesting golf game going on the back. Then we get the next iteration where, okay, he's a little more like the groovy Sugar Bear. Boring old recipe on the back, but each little stage where his ears are closer to where he was. He's got the tongue going. Same posture. And then, but this one, he's now got the requisite sweater. And then with this one, okay, he's even cooler. He's hanging out. He's now line art. Just sort of magic package. Linus is going back there. And they did a lot of these sort of cutouts and little magic riddle things at this point, which sort of tied in all the characters. And this one is that... This is that wraparound box. So we got the granny, who was a character on the commercials, which I don't really remember. I wasn't live when those commercials were out, but maybe I was 2 or something. But we see, he's kicking the Sugar Crisp. We have the wraparound, and then boom, we've gone from green to blue. We've become Super Sugar Crisp, and we've got your really classic looking Sugar Bear who would last a whole lot of years. He's a little different, as you can see, the eye, we got the sort of droopy eyes. His mouth becomes a little weirder. It says Sugar Bear on his chest. The feet are pretty much the same, but you can see there's just like these little subtle changes that are going on until we kind of get to this really classic, there's the floating lady, Jerry Lucas magic tricks, or magic numbers, I guess. That's interesting. This box would have either trick 5 or 6, so they must have, I don't know, because they made 6 different tricks. Maybe different Sugar Crisp boxes had different ones, or maybe each different cereal had different pieces on there, different premiums in there. Now this is where it gets super interesting. So when I got this art, cereal box art from Scott Bruce, there was a really interesting thing, because here's this Sugar Bear, which is, it's not that one. Maybe I don't have this one. Okay, I guess I don't have this one. There he is running with the cereal. But what they did was they glued this piece of art over the top of this piece of art. So they reused the bowl, but they just painted a new Sugar Bear and slapped him over there. So this Sugar Bear is this Sugar Bear with the spoon over his shoulder. And this art is archived underneath this guy. And over time this rubber cement fell off. And in a perfect world, sadly, they chewed up his hand here, so his hand is gone forever. But it's, you could probably get this all cleared off there and actually have that art. And, look at that. How pretty is that? And this one's from 1963. Color illustration for Sugar Crisp front panel, new Sugar Bear for compact size. And that's when they were starting the compact size. And then, see, we're going to be going back and forth and back. And we're just going to try to survive through all this without getting too crazy. And then we also have the artwork for this box. Back it up a little. And as you can see, this artwork, what they would do is they would do the artwork on vellum, which is like a tracing paper. And they would then transfer it onto this artboard. And then this is like a stat, and this is a different stat, and then all this other wording is stats. But the original art is that, black and white line art that they did on this vellum. So this, this box would have just been, one time. Super cool membership, super cool Sugar Bear Ecology Club kit. And, there he is. So that's a little bit of how these things work. These are really pretty. Some more of the snack packs. And as you can see, they're just constantly updating every year or two. And then, there's Sugar Bear. Kicking it with the honey pot. I think I have the original art to that little honey pot somewhere. Somewhere I have that original honey pot art. Okay, now we're just going to take a quick look at So High, which I do not have enough stuff on because... And in the way things are going right now, these characters are probably not the most racially sensitive characters in the world, but that's what it was like back in 1963. When they were making post-compact boxes and Rai Sprinkles boxes, and then. The green box, I think, is probably just about the last Rai Sprinkles box with So High. And then they kept making it, but it was just sort of a generic box. I don't think I have any of those. But I've had some in the past. And then this one's really, really gorgeous. And it's just, sadly torn, somebody just tore off a little sample of this one, and that's all I have on that. Set that there. Then you got Cornelius C. Sugarcoat, who's this beautiful corn guy, and I mean, there we have, the kind of art I just love, where it's painted art, and then it's got a really nice just line art face sort of on there. He's holding a little brush, and this is back in the sort of Bugs Bunny era. Really nice looking. And then sadly, this one's just a couple of scraps that are sort of put together. I don't have a whole one of these, but once again, man, this just the artwork of this stuff. Just incredible. Now, Alphabets goes back a ways and is one of their probably one of their first sugar cereals. Which one of these? I think this one. Which one's the oldest one? I think probably which one of these is older? Maybe this one's older with the big kid's face. Tasty letters A to Z. Just really nice. And this one, down to this overhead shot. Then this one got a really nice, we got the alphabet blocks, new brown sugar frosted, free toy train, sugar sparkled oat cereal. Ooh, alphabets are good. Alphabets are good. Free toy train. And you had to mail away for it. Oy. But it was free. Oh, So just 2 box tops and you got this stupid little plastic train. I guess you can't complain if it's free. And now we get into... This box is called the Jack E. Leonard Box because there was an actor whose name was Jack E. Leonard, and this character looks a lot like him. Whether or not he was inspired by that star, I have no idea. But ever since I began collecting, this one was always referred to as the Jack E. Leonard Box. And, you know, he's sort of your classic bumbling mailman. And, you know, maybe they caught flack for that because they genericized him and made him into just more of a guy that doesn't look like anybody. And you can see we had these great comic strips on the back. There's Sugar Bear. There's the postman who's named Lovable. What's his name? His name's Lovable Truly. I was going to say Lovable E Truly. And there's the grandma from Granny Goodwitch, which was from Sugar Bear, and you know, really nice strips. Get your Lovable Truly inflatable, and I've had a few of those through the years. The kids on the back of this one. Yeah, it's always interesting because, you know, each of the companies would have sort of their go-to advertising agencies and illustrators. And so Post has a very particular look to it, which is very different than, like, you look at all the Kellogg's kids through the different years. You know, Kellogg's like using those either photos of kids or these photorealistic kids. And then we have, so then we jump from this box to another one, which is, you know, his legs are super similar, you know, very similar things going on, but just a little more character to him. And then we get to that point where we're doing the wraparound box, and we got the kids and coming out of the mailbox, the mailman coming, the legs are all sort of still the same. And we have the art for these ones. Oh, now it's all falling apart. And as you can see, I've got the Jack E. Leonard art. Got the Jack E. Leonard art. Boom. And as you can see, he's been sort of discombobulated. And then over this would have gone the Lovable Truly, and then another piece would have gone over his head to do the things all. So kind of tricky. Wait, can I grab it? I can maybe get it. There we go. And there it is. So it's kind of fascinating. You know, and you can really see. Close that up. You know, these are just these beautiful paintings. You get in there really close. You know why they didn't just extend. You know, just have this guy shoot. You know, do the whole cereal bowl. It's not really. I mean, I know it's going to be some more work, but is it that much work? And those ones are the crazy shapes. Which, you know, alphabets. Yeah, this is alphabets, and it's got crazy shapes. So there's alphabets, and then, you know, in that endless war of having the most and weirdest, they've got a Christmas tree and an airplane and a diamond ring and a candy cane and a heart. You know, just like, okay, guys, enough. We looked at that one, and then here's a little snack pack version of that one. Fun. Sugar Sparkeled Flakes, which started with the genie, and it's really kind of yeah, little genie guy coming out of the sugar bowl, and then checker set. And now the interesting thing for this artwork is that it's this one, it's the photo bowl, and then he's airbrushed, and then the art for him is done on this overlay. And so they would have done, so the art would have been done on a separate black and white sheet, which they then would have made this overlay stat, and there's your genie. It's like, so, and look at the gorgeous, that's all those little grains of sugar, that beautiful lettering on there. If you look really close, really close, you can still see a little bit of pencil where they, so they would just, some really pro guy would just sit there, or woman, I don't know who painted it, but somebody would sit there and they'd just pencil that on there, and they'd come in with their gouache and just do amazing things. And if you look on the bowl along that edge, those little bubbles in there, those are all painted in there. So somebody would go and just really clean up every little thing and add those, each of those little beautiful sparkles is a little gouache, and gouache is an opaque watercolor. So it gives you this a really nice matte, beautiful color. And look at the inside the spoon, you can see every little crystal and the little sparkle. It's just, I love it. 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 So Sugar Sparkle Flakes had this genie kid, because they're magic. What is 1963, February 28, front panel color art, Sugar Sparkle Flakes, compact size. So even though it's not really a compact size, that box is kind of bigger. So after the genie, they went with another character called Rory Raccoon. And with Rory Raccoon, for some reason, with Rory Raccoon, they did 6 different boxes. So each Rory Raccoon, and I think these all came out at the same exact time, had a different cover. The backs are just, fun and games, color the dots, blah, blah, blah. And we have this one where he's in a little car. This is my favorite one, where we got a sugar mill going. Find the objects. And I mean, look at this attention to detail, On this one, we got him in the detective hat back here. On this one, we've got him in the coonskin cat, right? Yeah, that's a coonskin. We got Rory in a coonskin cap. This beautiful sugar mill. And I mean, these. I don't have any of the art for these boxes, sadly. It's just really, really good looking. In this one, Rory's kicking back, and the crow, I don't remember what the crow's name is. I wonder what his name is. And, on the back of this one, he's wearing the little blue, and he's wearing the hat from this one. So, why is he wearing that hat on the back of this box? Maybe they cut these wrong. I bet you they cut these wrong, actually. Because these were big proof sheets. And I got them from Scott Bruce, who was big cereal box collector, dealer, one of the guys that started cereal box collecting. So he had these big proof sheets, and he cut them all up so he could sell some of them. But if you look at what he did, now that I'm paying a little attention, is he cut them along the wrong bias. So this side should go with this box. So the hats aren't mismatched. The boxes are miscut. I think. This one doesn't even have that side panel, so we'll never know the answer to that one. There he is with a big gun. Not a lot of cereal boxes where the characters have shotguns on the front. And he's guarding them. I guess the whole idea was that Rory protected. And look at the bowl is like half eaten. So the crow has stolen half of them. And here we have some more racially insensitive things. And here's the coonskin cap one, which would have gone with the other coonskin cap one because he's wearing the green hat in this one. And they are fleeing from some American Indians with the sugar Sparkeled Flakes. And that's 5 of the 6. I do not have the 6th one. I just have 5 of the 6. But I know they made 6 because I have some original sketches. And that's the other thing, which we're going to get to everything today, I think. We're in good shape today. I have lots of original sketches and drawings, which we're not going to get into. This time, maybe we'll do it another day, because there's always more days. And unfortunately for the snack pack, there's only one. Top 3 is a mixture of corn flakes, wheat flakes, and crisp rice. Okay, so it's one of those classic, let's just throw 3 types of cereal into a bowl together and see if that can generate any interest among consumers. And so since it was 3, we picked 3 little lambs who say 3 top cereals mixed into one, 3 times the flavor, 3 times the fun. That probably was the commercial. I could write that. Well, they probably wrote that and already did that rhyme. Free package offer. What is this? If you like this to show our appreciation, we'd like to send you a coupon code for a free package of top 3. So if you like this one, new, and you send in this coupon, they'll send you a. You send this coupon in, they'd send you a coupon. I've never really paid attention to this. They would send you a coupon for another box. And this offer expires 1961. So this is 61. So you can see, this is probably about the same time that Linus was on. Let's look at that Heart of Oats box real quick. And let's match up the designs. Pretty darn similar. Whoops, I'm in the wrong direction. Pretty similar looking. Yeah, pretty darn similar looking. So this box is... So Linus probably was introduced in 61, and then they decided to mix him up into Crispy Critters in 63. Maybe 62. Actually, there's the first Linus box was with the post-cereal baseball cards, and so I'm thinking that might have been 61, 62. So maybe 62. And then after the lambs, boom, we had Bugs Bunny on top 3. And then this probably would have been 62. So that one would have been 60, 61. This one would have been 61, 62. And the nicest Bugs Bunny front of any box. Really good looking box. Pretty hard box to find. I do not have a lot of Honeycomb. It's not a character I've ever cared that much about. But here we have a wrap with him. We got some cutouts on the back. Honeycomb Cowboy. Here's very similar. What's Dr. Doolittle, I think, is 67, 68, 69, 69? Probably 69. So we can see sort of where that's going. These are a couple of my favorite boxes. I've always loved this box. Post Oat Flakes. Not a real character box, but it is a real character box because it has this beautiful giant cookie with a big mouth on it. And then we did it again. Oops, they did it again. Tastes like oatmeal cookies. I kind of doubt that. I'm thinking this is probably the older one. This is probably the 6061. This is probably 6162. They both say new, so it's hard to tell, but I don't know. I'm sure there'd be some way to figure it out if I spent hours and hours thinking about it. And that's another thing about Post. Post did a terrible job about dating their boxes. I think of all these things, the only thing we found was that one box, and then some of the art that actually tells us what date this stuff is from. And then we get to the 70s, and we get to the Pebbles era of Post, and man, they struck it good with Pebbles, because Pebbles had a lot of life. I think they still make Pebbles, right? Yeah, I think so. And there are so many great Pebbles premiums: Flintmobile, Flintmoboat, Land Sea Vehicle, just the coin purses, pencil hole. There's just a nearly limitless supply of Flintstones Pebbles premiums, and they're all pretty cheap generally, which is kind of great. As you can see, this one has smaller lettering, has bigger lettering, so the bigger lettering is probably the earlier one. Now we're just gonna creep around and look at some other stuff. I showed you this Raisin Bran. Let's see. So now we're gonna look at a little bit of the earlier stuff. Yeah, it's all going pretty quick today. Raisin Bran with these two little fairies, which is really cool. This box now with more raisins. We just have that one little fairy, and she's just really cute. Just really, here she is on the back. All those beautiful raisins, all lovingly painted. And then we have this one here, which is a nice box. And then how does this compare to this one? So we kind of mixed them back up. And it's like, there she is, like, ding, doing a little magic. There he is carrying a little raisin with his little overalls. I love that. And then we could there's tons and tons and tons of the more generic, Post was always making sort of less interesting cereals like Raisin Bran. I mean, they had characters then, but at this point, we just sort of threw a nice sugar bear on the back. But, pretty boring photo. Glue a couple of photos together. But nice purple box. And then last of these Raisin Brans with this really cool History's Famous Raisins cereal bowls. They also did placemats. They also did stickers. And the cool thing about this one is I remember these from when I was a kid. I don't know if I must have got the stickers, because I have a sheet of those stickers, and they're really cool because it's, that's Robin Raisinhood, King Richard the Raisin-Hearted, Sir Isaac Raisin. So they're taking historical characters and raisening, Lawrence of a Raisin. That one works. They, taking historical characters and sort of giving them a raisin spin. See here, yeah. So we'll get some. Now we're gonna kind of go back and dig through a lot of these wax wraps that are a lot of times how you find older Post boxes. All you find is the wax wrap, and here we have the original 3 Sugar Bears, and a neat scouting thing. And as you can see here, it's like inside there's a foil bag, and then a cardboard box, and then this full color wax wrap. And it probably had something to do with the availability of color printing. Printing on wax was probably just a little easier for whatever Post was doing. And just great illustrations, scouting equipment. Let's see, what else do we got here? We got some. We'll do the Rai Sprinkles in a second here, because you're all gonna like those. And then we have, there's those kids again. Oh, here's ooh, look at this. Oh, forgot about this box. When you dig, here's the new alphabets. So this box, I wonder if there's any kind of date on this at all. But this is, this is like 55 probably, maybe earlier. Nice little blonde-haired kid. And on the back we got these kids. But this is the first Alphabets box. How fun is that? Probably would have made sense to do this stuff first, but whatever. Yeah, sugar sparkled ABCs, new oat cereal. Ooh, I like Alphabets. Alphabets are good. Here's another early Sugar Crisp where they're all stacked up unicycling. Seems to be like a unicycle. they like to have characters do unicycling. I don't know what that's up. I don't know what that's about. Little kid in a baseball book, fun stuff. What else we got down here? We got more generic Raisin Brands, blah blah blah. But these ones kind of have. This one has these really weird kids in clouds with fairy things saying, "Oh, it's sweetest. It's the sweetest Raisin Bran this side of heaven." And then we have this girl. Has kind of a weird bent face. Sorry, bent face girl. Nothing personal. Oh, even more. And I have a bunch of these boxes. Sugar Crisp. There's Roy Rogers on the side. So that puts it, 1955. So the unicycle bears are about 55. Grandma Moses. Somebody on Instagram posted Grandma Moses's outhouse yesterday. I don't know why. Another Raisin Bran with a cool circus toy offer. Oh, we never got to Post Toasties. Post Toasties had these racially insensitive Indian kids as their mascots, and of course, Heap Good. So it always gave them an ability to say things like Heap Good. Another one of the sugar bears on the unicycle, Blow a Plains. Here's another Post Toasties where this is just a blue and red box. We've chosen to save some money by that's probably earlier because a lot of the earlier Post boxes were just blue and red. For a long time Posts had a more limited palette. Let's see if we can get these all together. Let's see. Man, what's this one? Okay, that's that. We'll do those together. See, I organized all that other stuff. This stuff I kind of pulled out and had spent. This is a very early. Here's the first Sugar Crisp. Would have helped to start with this. And Dandy, Handy, and Candy. That's the 3 sugar bears, and there they are. As this one, you can see, this one has the foil still in there. That's the first Sugar Crisp. And then, let's see, and then we got this. Organize that. More of these Raisin Brands. We don't need to look at those. Here's an early Rice Krinkles. It's just called Post Krinkles, but these are Rice Krinkles, and it had this little weird clown, whatever the hell that thing is. And then this, this says save 6 when you purchase 2 of these packages. So probably 2 of these would be glued together when you went to the store. So you get 2. And then we have Cornfetti. So this is the first Cornfetti box. Magic, Sugar Coat, Jolly New Cereal. We got Girl Dancing, Boy is Cowboy, Jolly New Taste. And I'm sure they were kind of selling this. Crispy Crisp does not go mushy. Magic sweetness you can't get from a sugar bowl. Eat it like candy. And they also were sort of pitching some of these cereals as snacks and not just for breakfast. And so it's Cornfetti, jolly good eating. So when Cornfetti got a mascot, it was Captain Jolly, who's the super cool pirate guy years before Captain Crunch. Grab a handful whenever you pour a bowlful, eats like candy. And that was definitely a whole thing they did try and you know, expand the market. And then this is a little later one where, as you can see, he's Captain Jolly's all over the place. We have a full ship, and he's doing his thing, like we will end up seeing Captain Crunch too. And then this one is 40% bran flakes, which has the magic baker with his magic oven. And you can see post 10s, we've got sugar Krinkles, Sugar Crisp, Raisin Bran, Corn Flakes, Bran Flakes, Grape Nuts, and Grape Nuts Flakes. Post 10s. Terrible silverware offer. Here's a snack pack with the Magic Chef and his magic oven. Oh, here's another super early Sugar Crisp. This one being a more foiled looking version. And there's also like these little packs like this, these little cello packs that came in. But these are the first boxes. The very, very first boxes. I forgot about these. And that's the thing with this stuff. You always have like little scraps. And the last ones of these we're going to look at are the Rai Sprinkles. The Rai Sprinkles are great because they have these terrible clowns on them. And I've been posting these through the years. You know, every time I have a new platform, I take pictures of these. And invariably, they end up all over Pinterest and all over the web. And typically, I look at the photos. I mean, I'm sure maybe other people have found these boxes, but typically the photos are my photos of these sort of scrappy boxes. And Rai Sprinkles' mascot was an endless parade of terrifying clowns. And it's kind of great because I think there's 4 different. And, you know, here's your circus tent. They're all really horrifying. And after this episode, I'm going to go and I'm going to shoot all these and put them up on my Instagram and send them once more into the world for people to share when they need terrifying clown images. This one's fun. I mean, they're all fun, but this one's neat because it's got Charms candy on it. And that's always been an interesting subset of cereal boxes, is cereal boxes that had free candy inside. Because it was always kind of interesting to buy cereal and then you get free candy. Yeah. I wonder which one of these is first. Probably this one is first because it's the least dynamic. And then the fourth one is this guy who looks suspiciously like there's like a liquor store who has a big clown mascot sign out in the valley. It's kind of like that. It's kind of your classic free flip top. Flip top was I won't say pretty common, but it seems like it's a premium that got done a number of times. Yeah, that clown really does look like that sign that's out on that liquor store. And that's the main thrust. What's this? Post Toasties cornflakes. Not that exciting. Grape Nuts Flakes box. And like the last little thing we'll look at is this super cool. This is like original art for the Sugar Crisp Theater, and it's neat because they use the art on this little this little order. This is like the order form, and they use the art, and then they also use the art on this record. And this record's kind of cool because it's there's the theater on the one side, talks about deals, and then on the inside it's got Roy Rogers and has this little Roy Rogers record. So that's Post Cereal as far as I know it. A lot of good stuff, a lot of fun stuff. Hope you enjoyed all the art. I added a bonus one I did on like Wednesday night, I think, where I dealt with some oversized stuff. If you might have missed that one. If you're watching this now, go back and check that out. I added an interview with my buddy Anna this week, And then next week, I start with my interviews with Dove Kellemer of DKE Toys, and that one's huge. Well, do I have a favorite post cereal to eat? Alphabets. It's probably gonna be Alphabets, I would say. What do I eat on post? I don't know. it'd probably be Alphabets. Probably my favorite cereal is Cheerios. I love all the sugary cereals, don't get me wrong. Those are my favorites, but I know it's not in my best interest to have a box of Lucky Charms or Peanut Butter Captain Crunch is my favorite cereal of all cereals. Yeah, but probably Alphabets. I really like Alphabets because that's I think the cereal I ate most as a kid from Post. I didn't eat Pebbles. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of what other super sugary one. I haven't had I'm digressing, but we're ending a little early, so I can digress. If you're only here to see new cereal boxes, I've gone through all of them. I love Sugar Crisp. I love Sugar Crisp, but I haven't had it in a number of years, so I don't know where the formulation is at. Like with Lucky Charms, like it seems like I had it at one point and it seemed like the formulation had sort of changed, and then I had it again and the formulation had kind of gotten better. I am not the guy to remember all that stuff. But, Peanut Butter Captain Crunch. So next week, I think we're going to... I still have a few more cereal things. We probably won't get into that stuff because it's just sort of things that I missed, and that's not a whole new show. So Ralph really wanted me to do Libbyland TV dinners, so we're going to do Libbyland TV dinners and TV dinners in general and maybe dinner stuff, I guess. I'm not sure how we're going to squeeze an hour out of that, but maybe we'll just squeeze 52 minutes like we did today. So, thanks everybody that came by. I'll be posting those Rai Sprinkles clown boxes if you want to take them off of Instagram. Thanks everybody for coming. This was a fun end to Cereal Box. Almost turned into Cereal Box month. Cereal Box is part 3. And that's probably all. I'm just going to stop saying and say goodbye. So thanks, and we'll see you later.